Thanks very much. Thank you, Shukura, and hi, everybody. Okay, thanks very much. So I come from Senegal. It is the western part of Africa. And here I will try to make 2 points. One is just what are we doing in having better model, or better hierarchy of modeling is important for the Global South, and also why the Global South should be part of this process. Of course, I have a disclaimer. I'm not representing the Global South per se, but part of the Global South, I can say maybe a few words how to advance this one. Okay, so if you don't know what is the Sahel, this is a part of Africa, North Africa, and you think that this rectangle represents the Sahel. It is very interesting because it's on the fringe between the tropical forest and the desert of the north, so the climate is very particular. And if you look at, for example, rainfall variabilities, or let's say rainfall variabilities, we have only a short rainy season, 4 to 5 months, and many activities revolve around this one. So it's very important to have better data, better forecasts, and having strong variability. I will come into that. And also, if you look at the social economical, you have a lot of activities or sectors that are impacted by climate variability. In the health sector, everybody knows malaria is a far more killing disease, and meningitis both depend on the climate. Today, with the urbanization going on, we have a lot of flooding. Also, it's a big problem now. And the agriculture is rain-fed. For example, in Senegal, 90% of our agriculture is driven by rainfall, natural rainfall, and you can think of pastoralism. And if you think all of this with the limited economic resources, also very low GDP countries with many challenges, and also we are living in climate change. Things are now changing more and more. We have more extreme events, heat waves, rainfall, you name it. Here is rainfall variability over Sahel, year-to-year variabilities. What you can see is this trend called decadal trend, you can see. And also you can see the interannual variabilities is 1 year is wet, the next year will be dry, and so on and so forth. So very strong variabilities. And also, if you look at the intra-seasonal, I cannot see, but just one example of Burkina Faso. On the top, you can see that the year was quite dry, and one event took it from dry to the wet year, and the event actually was really strong and have huge impact over the countries because it fell rainfall of 263 millimeters in 24 hours, half a day, and you can imagine what is the impact here as what was done in this country. So to show you just how high variability rainfall is really impacting, and we need really to have information for that. And of course, everybody remembers this year the cyclone Freddy. You had the longest cyclone and go back and forth in this area of Africa and have huge impact in terms of losses. So to show you just why it's important to have this. But many things have been done as the professor was saying it. I work a lot with trying to make sense of climate information, and we use a lot of means to reach the population in general, online. So, and also we use telephone text messaging in our early warning system. You have always also application, and we have flags from fishermen, so they know. And we reach also communities through their platform they have. And also community radio is very important of what we are doing. And we train a lot of journalists in community radio so they can, bring the information in another level. And they do it at local language. So we train them in French, that's what we speak. But as specialists in climate information, they can take it in another level. Many things are developed. One thing really was great that we did is try to interpret the climate information. Climate information is one puzzle of the decision making. So here, we create at local level a community where a lot of people revolving about climate information are sitting each 10 days, and based on the climate information, different forecasting at different time scale, they interpret it in their own, action, things they do in day-to-day, and seeing if the climate is behaving this way, what is the best action to take, and then they will discuss about it and come out with really actionable things to do, and then disseminate it in different ways, radio, text messaging, social gathering, math to hear, and a lot of things. And it's really working very, very, very well at the local level. So we also, this is just some statistics of early warning systems that we develop at the national level. You see that the number of text messaging, the number of voice messaging. We were starting with text messaging, sending text, but as you know, most part of Africa, people are illiterate. So they don't know how to read or how to write. So that's why after we developed this text messaging in a public-private partnership, so the private sector takes the message, transform it into voice, and then they can send it at local language, and people can hear it. Here, the statistics you see is the number of head of communities that receives the message. Of course, you can imagine there are hundreds behind, so the message is duplicating everywhere. So these are the statistics. Also, we are present in the social media, software, so on and so forth. So just to show you that there are a lot of things that we are doing, but of course, we need accurate climate information. Another example here is just in rain-fed, because most of the population depend on agriculture. Even though agriculture is not most contributing a lot in the GDP, but number of people involved in agriculture and the implication in food security is very important. So here, as you can see, we run the experience actually using a project funded by USAID, where the farmers is cultivating business as usual, just the farm business as usual. Another farm very close in the same area, the same size, but cultivating using climate information, when to plant, when to put fertilizer, when to remove the weeds, when to harvest, where to storage it. All those are driven by climate information. And then we compare at the end what is the yield, and you can see that very clearly that in some crop like the maize, there is huge difference for the farmers using climate information or without using climate information. The blue one is while climate information is used, and the red one is not using climate information, business as usual. So just to draw the point that it's very important for us to get climate information accurate. So now, what is the contribution of the Global South? Of course, we need this information for many reasons. Of course, our economy, as I say, depends a lot on these climate variabilities, and we are vulnerable, so it's very difficult, really, to have these shocks. So the best thing that we can do is just anticipating, having a better forecast and to be better prepared before things come along. So, and you can see a lot of things are really lacking. And also, even though I was mentioning this public-private partnership, in order to set it, one requirement is to have accurate forecast, because the private company want always to ensure that you get the best forecast. But if they fail 2 or 3 times, it's very difficult. So we are working with insurance company, Index Insurance on crop. We are working also private company in the text messaging as I saw it. So we think that really the best approach is really to have better information in order to adapt for the climate variabilities. Another thing important for us also is to be part of this going, Eve things. One thing why I think some people raise it, we have to recognize that there is a divide between the South and the North. Of course, one can say, why they have slow internet, sometimes power outage, why do we care of just running the model with all those problems? Of course, we can say also there are lack of critical mass of group of experts, even though we have some now, some teams are growing. So, and the infrastructure are expensive, and you need to maintain them. It is there to maintain. We have a supercomputer, and we spend a lot in the maintenance. But we just be part of the community, not just as a user. I mean, right now, we access a map of focus for different centers. You can go online and get some maps. That's not what I'm talking about, being part of the community. But just parting in the development, in the science, and then, how things are working. And for example, if you want to do a model correction and you don't know how model works, you don't know how all those different steps in the chain, you will not be able to imagine those things. So that's why we really need part of it. And of course, we have young people coming now, and then with different schools, people even are trained upward, and abroad, sorry. And we need them really to be part of the community. We need to have room for them. So what I'm saying is just we need to have capacity, hands-on, how to code, how to do assimilation, knowing all those different steps. And of course, I think we have contribution as well. I think most of the people coming from the South are expert on their local climate. We know that local climate is different from the North and the South, and we need to represent all the climate system. So that's why I think those experts living the climate need to be on board. And also, we have the mandate as Met Service to deliver the information. If you want to cope with climate change, if you want to do betterment, if you do adaptation, the Met Service should be upfront, giving the information on time. So if they are not involved in these things, I don't know how they will do it. Another thing also is data assimilation. I think people are aware of this project called SOF, the project from WMO. And the big problem is asking developing countries to give data because we are lacking data. And the question is why? The question. Sometimes the problem is just, sometimes they sell their data, they don't see the value. But if they are involved in this kind of project, they see that there is a return things because they give their data, because they can have better climate forecast and they have better feedback coming in. So I think it's very important so people can be part of this project. So I think what we expect, how we see it in this project is to have more accuracy, how much does it rain, how much is the wind, so, and where is it very precisely. That's very important for us. And I think somebody mentioned it, we are less contributing on this greenhouse gas effect, so it's very important. So this is really the message that I want to say. Here you see a picture, what I was saying. You see the field here on the left is where it was done by business as usual. And you can see the difference between this part, where it was done with climate information. You can see the difference, very quite different. So that shows that climate information is very important and can they make a very big difference for the livelihood of people sitting there. Thanks very much.